welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be diving in.
Today, we're getting into a really foundational document for anyone in the enterprise INT space, the COBIT 2019 Framework Governance and Management Objectives.
That's right. It's a bit dense, maybe, but crucial.
So think of us as your instructors today. We're going to try and unpack it, pull out the key ideas, and really understand its structure.
And we're working directly from the source material you've shared, excerpts from the official COBIT document itself. It's all about that roadmap for governing and managing INT.
Okay, let's get started. The first thing COBIT does, and it's, well, fundamental, is draw a line between governance and management.
Yeah, this distinction is critical. It sets the whole scene. Governance, according to COBIT, that's the board of directors' responsibility, often led by the chairperson.
And their role isn't the day-to-day running of IT, right?
Not at all. Their job is to evaluate, direct, and monitor. EDM. Think big picture. Are we making the right strategic bets? Are we achieving the enterprise goals? They set the direction.
Evaluate, direct, monitor. Okay.
And they monitor performance against that direction. Now, they can delegate specific tasks, of course, especially in bigger companies.
But the ultimate accountability stays with the board.
Exactly. So if governance is about, are we doing the right things, then management is about, are we doing things right?
Ah, nice way to put it. So management falls to
Executive management, led by the CEO. Their job is to plan, build, run, and monitor the activities.
taking that direction from the board and, making it happen on the ground.
Precisely. Building the systems, delivering the services, managing the resources, but, and this is key, always in alignment with the direction set by governance.
That alignment piece seems like it would be a recurring theme.
It absolutely is. It's woven throughout COBIT.
Okay, so governance sets direction, management executes. Got it. Then the document introduces the COBIT core model. There's a figure 1.2 referenced.
Right, the core model. This is how COBIT organizes everything. It groups all the necessary governance and management objectives into 5 domains.
Okay, what are those domains?
First, you have EDM, evaluate, direct, and monitor. That's the pure governance domain we just talked about.
Board level stuff.
Then you get into management. APO align, plan, and organize. Think strategy, structure, planning.
That makes sense.
Then BAI, build, acquire, and implement. This is about creating or getting the IT solutions.
The building phase.
DSS deliver, service, and support. It's keeping things running, the operational side.
Keeping the lights on.
And finally, MEA monitor, evaluate, and assess. This is about checking performance, compliance, making sure controls are working.
So it covers the whole life cycle. Strategy, build, run, check.
Exactly. And within these 5 domains, COBIT describes 40 core governance and management objectives.
40 objectives, wow.
Yeah, and each one is a specific goal the enterprise needs to achieve related to INT. They're tied to processes and, importantly, other components.
And that visual, figure 1.2, it distinguishes the governance ones.
It does. EDM, the governing objectives, are shown in dark blue. The management ones, APO, BAI, DSS, MEA, are in a lighter blue. It just reinforces that governance directs management.
That's helpful. Okay, 40 objectives. But achieving them isn't just about having a process, is it? COBIT talks about a governance system with components.
Right. You need more than just processes. COBIT identifies 7 types of components. These are basically all the different factors that need to work together for the governance system to function effectively. Think of them as ingredients.
7 components. What are they?
Okay, first, processes. These are the sets of practices, the activities you actually do. They're at the heart of the objectives.
You have risk assessment steps.
Exactly. Then, organizational structures. Who is responsible? Who is accountable? Your roles, your committees, reporting lines.
Standard org chart stuff, but focused on INT governance.
Sort of, yeah. Third is information flows and items. What data do you need as input? What reports or decisions come out? How does information move?
Critical. Data drives everything.
Yeah. Fourth, people, skills, and competencies. You need the right people with the right expertise. Can't manage cybersecurity without cyber skills, for example. COBIT often points to specific skills frameworks.
The human element, often underestimated.
Definitely. Fifth, principles, policies, and procedures. These are the guiding rules, the documented ways you do things. Think governance policies, privacy policies, budget rules.
The formal guidelines.
Sixth, culture, ethics, and behavior. This one's huge. What's the actual culture like? Is it risk-aware, transparent, ethical? Does leadership drive the right behaviors?
Culture eats strategy for breakfast, they say.
It really does matter here. And seventh, services, infrastructure, and applications. The actual technology stuff, the hardware, software, networks, and the services delivered.
Wow, okay. That's a really holistic list. Processes, structure, info, people, policies, culture, and the tech itself.
It is, and the real power, as you see in the document, is that for each of those 40 objectives, COBIT provides guidance across these components.
So for managing risk, it's not just the risk process, but also the skills needed. The risk reports, the policies, maybe a risk committee, and fostering a risk-aware culture.
You've got it. That's exactly the idea. It connects everything.
And these 40 objectives, they're not just internal I&T goals, are they? They link up to bigger things. Figure 3.2 is mentioned.
Right. They directly support the achievement of broader enterprise goals, EGs, and maybe more directly relevant for I&T, alignment goals, AGs.
Alignment goals. So they bridge the gap between I&T activities and what the business actually cares about.
Precisely. They show how doing I&T governance and management well helps the entire enterprise succeed.
Can you give us a couple of examples? Make it concrete for you listening.
Sure. Think about common business pressures. AG01 is I&T compliance with external laws and regulations. Super important for things like GDPR or SOX.
Yeah, compliance is always huge.
AG02, manage I&T related risk. Think cybersecurity threats, data breaches, project failures.
Top of mind for most boards.
AG03, realized benefits from I&T investments. Are we actually getting the value we paid for from that new system?
The ROI question.
AG07, security and privacy of information and systems. Always critical. AG12, having competent and motivated staff. You need good people.
Okay, those examples really land. It connects the dots clearly. And the document even provides example metrics for these goals, figure 3.3.
Yep. It's not just about having the goal, it's about measuring progress. Are we actually improving compliance, reducing risk incidents, delivering benefits?
Makes sense. Measure what matters. Okay, let's actually dive into the domains now, starting at the top with EDM. Evaluate, direct, monitor, the governance domain.
Right. This is where the governing body, the board, operates, setting direction, making sure the whole system works.
So what are some key objectives here?
Well, take EDM01, Managed Governance System. It's about ensuring the governance system itself is effective. Practices include the board directing how governance works, setting principles, decision models, and then monitoring if it's actually functioning as intended.
Like checking if decisions really follow the agreed principles.
Exactly. Or how often it gets reviewed. Then there's EDMA4, Managed Resources. Governance isn't allocating servers day to day, but it does set the principles for how resources should be allocated to align with strategy.
So directing management on resource priorities.
Right. And evaluating if resources are being used effectively. Metrics might look at deviations from those principles.
Okay.
And EDM05, ensured stakeholder engagement. Governance needs to talk to shareholders, regulators, business leaders. This objective is about directing how that engagement happens and monitoring its effectiveness. Defining communication needs, using things like risk reports to inform discussions.
So EDM ensures the whole ship is pointed in the right direction, properly resourced at a high level, and communicating outwards.
That's a good way to put it.
All right, moving down into management territory, APO. Align, plan, organize. This sounds like where the strategy gets fleshed out.
It is. APO takes the governance direction and builds the I&T strategy and organizational foundation. It's a big domain.
What are some highlights?
APO1, Managed Management System, is kind of the management equivalent of EDM01. It's about building the management system itself, defining I&T roles, responsibilities, policies, designing the IT department structure.
Setting up the management function properly.
Exactly. APO0, Managed Strategy, is core. Developing the I&T strategy, making sure it supports the overall enterprise strategy, defining target capabilities, building the roadmap. A key metric here might be the percent of business goals supported by the I&T plan.
Clear linkage.
APO05, Managed Portfolios. This treats I&T investments like a business portfolio, managing programs, services, assets, focusing on value delivery, and tracking benefits realization over the life cycle.
Like an investment manager, but for IT.
Sort of, yeah. APO7, Managed Human Resources, getting the right people with the right skills. Acquiring staff, developing competencies, measuring the percentage of staff who meet skill requirements is crucial.
People again.
Always. APO8, Managed Relationships, focusing on that I&T business connection, understanding expectations, managing the relationship productively.
Bridging the gap.
APO12, Managed Risk. This is huge for management. While EDM sets risk appetite, APO executes the risk management framework. Analyzing risks, maintaining the profile, defining responses, Culture is mentioned here too, fostering transparency.
The operational side of risk management planning.
Right. APO 13, managed security. Building on the risk assessment, this is about establishing the Information Security Management System, ISMS, and planning the security controls and risk treatments.
The security blueprint.
And APO 14, manage data, treating data as an asset, defining data strategy, managing glossaries, metadata, data quality, even backups. Things like data classification guidelines are key components here.
Getting the data ducks in a row.
You got it. That's APO, the planning and organizing engine.
Okay, so plans are made. Next comes BAI. Build, acquire, implement. This must be where things actually get built or bought.
Exactly. BAI is where the rubber meets the road for delivering new capabilities.
What's important here?
Well, you've got BAI 01, managed programs, and BAI 11, managed projects. These cover how you manage the delivery efforts themselves, standard approaches, stakeholder engagement, risk management within the project or program, monitoring progress.
Project and program management fundamentals.
Pretty much. Then BAI 02, managed requirements. Critical. Defining and managing what the business actually needs the solution to do. Prioritizing, ensuring they meet standards.
Can't build it right if you don't know what right is.
Precisely. BAI 03, managed solutions, is the real core of building. Designing the solution, high-level detail, developing it, building, configuring, testing thoroughly, and maintaining it afterwards. Integrating security and controls into the design is stressed.
The heavy lifting of development and implementation.
Absolutely. Then there's BAI 05, managed organizational changes. This isn't about IT change, it's about the people change that comes with new IT. Preparing the business, communicating the vision, helping people adapt, sustaining the change. Leadership fostering a culture of change is key.
The soft stuff, that's actually hard stuff.
Often the hardest. BAI 6, managed IT changes, is the more technical change control. Moving things safely from dev to test to production, standard changes, emergency changes, tracking.
Classic change management.
Yes. BAI 07, managed acceptance and transition. Getting the business to formally accept the solution and transitioning it smoothly into operation. Planning conversion, testing, go-live readiness, post-implementation reviews.
The handover.
Right. BAI 08, managed knowledge. Capturing and sharing the knowledge gained during the build process, using knowledge repositories.
Learning from experience.
BAI 09, managed assets. Tracking the IT assets, hardware, software licenses through their lifecycle, optimizing value.
Keeping track of the stuff.
And BAI managed configuration, knowing exactly what components make up your IT environment and how they're configured. Establishing baselines, tracking changes to configuration items, essential for stability.
Understanding the moving parts.
That's BAI in a nutshell, building, buying, implementing, and managing all the related changes and assets.
Okay, makes sense. So the solutions are built and transitioned. Now we need to run them. That sounds like DSS, deliver, service, support.
Exactly. DSS is all about the ongoing delivery of IT services and supporting the users. It's the operational domain.
What does that involve?
DSS 01, managed operations, covers basics like managing third-party service providers or managing the physical data center environment, protecting equipment.
Foundational operations.
DSS 02, managed service requests and incidents. This is your service desk function. Handling user requests, fixing things when they break, classifying, tracking, resolving incidents. Metrics focus on speed and efficiency.
Dealing with day-to-day issues.
Right. DSS 03, manage problems. This goes deeper than incidents. It's about finding the root cause of recurring incidents and fixing it permanently. Identifying problems, managing known errors.
Preventing future incidents.
Ideally, yes. Proactive problem management. DSS 04, managed continuity. Business continuity and disaster recovery planning and execution. Making sure critical services can survive disruptions. Analysis, planning, testing, backups.
Keeping the business running no matter what.
That's the goal. DSS 05, managed security services. This is where security plans become operational reality. Managing firewalls, anti-malware, identity and access, user accounts, privileged access, physical security, monitoring for threats.
Security in action.
And DSS 06, managed business process controls. This is about the controls within the business processes that rely on IT. Things like ensuring proper authorizations, segregation of duties, data validation within transactions.
Controls embedded in the workflow.
Exactly. So DSS keeps the services running, supported, secure, and resilient day to day.
Okay, almost there. The final domain, MEA. Monitor, evaluate, assess. This sounds like the feedback loop.
It is. MEA provides assurance back to management and governance that things are operating as intended and goals are being met.
How does it do that?
Through objectives like MEA01, manage performance and conformance, are we hitting our performance targets? Are we following the rules and policies? This involves monitoring, evaluating, and crucially, ensuring corrective actions happen when needed.
Checking performance and compliance.
MEA02, manage system of internal control, focusing specifically on whether the internal controls within INT are effective. Identifying key controls, testing them, maybe doing self-assessments.
To ensure the safety nets are working.
Right. MEA03, manage compliance with external requirements, specifically tracking and confirming compliance with laws, regulations, contracts, identifying requirements, checking against them, addressing gaps. Again, fostering a compliance-aware culture is mentioned.
Double-checking those external rules.
Yes. And finally, MEA04, managed assurance. This is about getting independent assurance, often through audits or assessments, ensuring the reviewers are independent and qualified, defining the scope, executing the review, checking design and operation of controls, and reporting the findings.
The independent checkup.
Exactly. Roles like internal audit, external audit, security assessors play a big part here. It closes the loop for the entire system.
Okay, wow. That's a lot, but seeing it broken down by domain really helps.
Let's try to synthesize this. What's the big picture takeaway from this document? I think the power of COBIT, and this objectives document specifically, is its comprehensiveness and interconnectedness. It's not just a checklist. It lays out 40 key outcomes across governance and management.
Grouped into those 5 logical domains, EDM, APO, BAI, DSS, MEA.
Right. And for each outcome, it emphasizes that you need all 7 types of components working together: the processes, structures, information, people, policies, culture, and technology.
It forces you to think holistically.
It really does. It provides that detailed guidance showing how practices, metrics, roles, policies, skills, and culture all contribute to achieving specific objectives, which in turn support those alignment goals and ultimately the enterprise goals.
So it gives organizations a blueprint, a structure to build or improve their own system for governing and managing INT effectively.
Exactly. A framework they can tailor and use to make sure INT is delivering value and managing risk properly.
So here's something for you, our listeners, to think about as you reflect on this. We've seen how interconnected these objectives and components are, how processes need skills, policies need culture, tech needs processes. Given that, how might just one single weakness, maybe poor skills in a key area, a weak policy, a gap in a process, or even just a cultural blind spot, how could that one thing ripple outwards? How could it potentially undermine objectives in other domains and ultimately impact the entire enterprise's ability to achieve its strategic goals?
That's a really good question. That interconnectedness means a weakness rarely stays isolated, does it? It really highlights the need for that complete systemic view COBIT promotes.
Something to definitely consider. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the COBIT 2019 Governance and Management Objectives.
Thanks for listening.